and make sure you have a why for you, because for me, I wanted to be around for my family and myself and my wife. I mean, I love my wife. You know, she's 6 years younger than me, and I want to be around her, and I don't want to leave her with nothing. You know, we're starting over because of being out of work. We lost everything during that time we were out of work, and so I need to have this energy in order to support my wife and myself.
Kenny, how did you find Carnivore?
Uh, let's see. Surfing the net. I came across it to YouTube primarily. Um, let's see. I would have to say that the person that comes to mind most was Anthony Chafee. He really struck a chord with me when I heard him say that plants are trying to kill you. And I watched a lot of videos about plants are trying to kill you by Anthony Chafee, which led me down the rabbit hole of um, uh, Dr. Ken Berry, MD, Dr. Sean Baker, MD, Dr. Sean Omar, MD, Ovadia, Homestead How, the steak and butter cow, and on, including yourself. I've watched several of your videos, and uh, what an eye-opening education. Why I wanted to be a carnivore, and the main reason why is because I had a heart attack, which would be a year ago this past April 17th in 2023, about 2 weeks after my wife's mother passed away. Uh, I've been an over the road truck driver my whole life, so I've on the go eating junk food, raised with Fruit Loops and you know, all these different American cereals and ho hos and ding dongs and candy bars, and you know, saving your nickels and pennies and dimes so you can go buy candy and bazooka bubble gum and all this stuff, you know, in the 1960s and 70s. And so I was raised on junk food, and I was raised on the standard American diet, and which over the years, I after being in the military, after you know, becoming a truck driver for almost 40 years over the road all over the United States and Canada, I ended up with a heart attack, you know, and they had to put two stents in, one in the back artery of my heart and one in the front artery of my heart, and the back one was completely blocked 100%, the front one 80%. And thank goodness I was near a hospital at the time when I was away from home driving, uh, that specialized in that sort of thing, and kept me from my heart getting damaged and from actually having to cut my chest open and do serious heart surgery. And following that, I got on some heart medication, you know, blood pressure medication. I got onto some cholesterol stats, and it was horrible. Man, I started blowing up like a balloon. I was already battling with the bulge since I was 5 years old, you know, because of eating all the carbs, the pastas. My dad's side of the family were all Sicilian. My mother's side, German, English, Scottish, Irish, English, you know, with some Cherokee in between. And I mean, just my nana, meaning grandmother, and Sicilian, munja, 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 you know, you got to eat, you got to eat. And they used to call me Buffa boy, which is, you know, buffalo boy, you know, the fat boy, you know, because being always battling the bulge. And some people can eat like that and not get weight like I did. But finally, when I got into high school, I got into sports, and that counteracted everything. And then my hormones started kicking in, and I lost weight, and I was doing really good. And then I got out of high school and into the Navy, and I kept it off because of all the work I did in the Navy and everything before I got out of that, which was in the early 1980s. And then after I got out of the Navy, uh, fast forward to getting a truck driving job after I left, because I was raised in Northern California near the San Francisco Bay Area is where I was raised primarily. And then it got too expensive. So in the late 80s, I left for Colorado to find work there. And then I became a truck driver and hit the road all over the place, all over the United States and Canada, hauling goods of all different sorts, and that's when the weight started coming back on, and I was constantly battling it. Then I took a break from that, and I went to skydiving and became a vegan. And I was horribly sick all the time, but I wanted to keep the weight off so that I could do skydiving photography and videography, because I had gotten into that. And I was teaching skydiving university. I was filming people competing in skydiving. I was offered a job to be on a skydiving 8-way team in Eloy, Arizona, and uh, then I had a skydiving accident, with a dust devil that busted. It fractured my pelvis, broke my tailbone, crushed my ribs, and had internal bleeding, and that kind of eliminated my exercising and vegan, and threw me into the depression. And I just started eating, and then I started gaining weight, and I started getting more depressed, and I went back to driving truck. And I continued to just eat all the stuff that I thought was okay, but said, well, maybe this is just the way I am. It's my DNA. There's nothing I can do about it, and as I got older, I figured, there's nothing I can do about it, and then fast forward to my heart attack. I'm like, what is going on here? Why can't, am I just going to die before my time? I'm only 62 years old. That's what I am right now. I just turned 62 this past February. And I said, how can I fix this? So early on, I quit all my meds because I didn't trust the doctors. Deep down inside my heart, I just didn't feel like they were telling me the truth. And whether they were doing it deliberately or not, because I've heard all the, pros and cons. The doctors, some of these carnivore doctors say that in defense of them, they're not taught anything about nutrition, and this is what they're programmed to believe, that you have to, give you a pill and all that sort of stuff. So surfing the net, looking for anything, I came across Carnivore on YouTube, and I fell into the rabbit hole. And man, I just buried myself into watching videos, hours and hours and videos. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it 30 days. I told my wife about it. I'm going to give it 30 days. And if I start feeling better after 30 days, I'm going to go strict carnivore. Then I'm going to go ahead and stick with it. And so the first 2 weeks, I lost probably 20 pounds of water weight, I would say. And then after the 20 pounds of water weight, my joint pain was going away from my fracture, my pelvis, my tailbone, my lower back. I had fractured my neck with another injury in skydiving prior to that, and when I was working for an outfit called Skydive Dallas, and outside of Dallas, Texas, and that pain went away. I kept feeling better. My snoring went away. My sleep got better. I stopped having to get up to go to the bathroom all night long. You know, uh, my my brain fog cleared up. I was like, this is great. I'm not feeling any brain fog anymore. My depression cleared up. I started feeling positive, and then I started losing more weight. And then after about 3.5 months into it, which I'm about a week away from 5 months into this, I lost 70 pounds, 12 inches from a 52-inch waist down to a 40. And I won't get smaller clothes. I keep notching up my belt here because I'm too cheap to go and get new clothes until I get down to the size I want, you know? And the next thing I know, I'm like, this is great. I mean, I haven't felt this good since I was in my 30s, and uh there's got to be something to this. So I told my wife about it, and she got on board and started doing it with me. And I'm not going to lie, we've had our hiccups. At first, we just jumped right into it thinking we were going to do it no problem. And then we found out, oh, wait a minute, we're eating too much fat and it's coming out loose stools and all that stuff. And then we had to adjust for that. And then, oh, wait, the steak and butter gal says we have to satiate ourselves at first and get fat adapted and eat 3 times a day. So we did that for, 2 weeks straight, and then went back to me just eating once every 24 hours and my wife eating twice a day. And that worked out for us. And we got fat adapted to where we don't have the south end problem anymore. And we still have our moments of toxic dumping, you know but my wife's eczema and everything, um that went away for her. My eyesight got better and cleared up. I was thinking I was going to have to get glasses again because I've worn glasses on and off. That got better. When I first started it, I had a cavity and I didn't have any dental. I couldn't afford to get it worked on. That healed itself and went away. I didn't have to go to the dentist after a while. There's still kind of a hole there where the cavity was trying to work its way in, but it just completely was gone. My gum stopped bleeding like everyone talks about. My wife's gum stopped bleeding. Our face and dark eyes and my circles, I had really dark circles under my eyes. That kind of went away and is getting better. And I'm far from an expert at this, I'm still learning. I'm still watching people. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm new. I'm a baby in this whole thing, you know. So you're definitely one of my mentors, and so are a lot of these other people that I'm trying to figure, you know.
That those are some awesome results, though. I mean, in 5 months, that's amazing.
And I haven't done lion diet. I've thought about doing it. I have done I have done some intermittent fasting. The longest I went was 5 days straight, and I wasn't hungry at all. I was just like, okay, I'm not hungry during the day. I'm not wanting a snack. I'm not wanting to get junk food. Uh, but I know that if I was to eat any of that stuff, in the back of my mind, I know if I go back to eating any of that stuff, I'm going to crash. I'm going to fall off the wagon, and I'm just going to, you know. But everyone I've talked to in my family, oh, that's nice. That's good for you. But there ain't no way I'm going to do that. It's like kind of being, I don't know, an outcast, with the majority of the world. So
Yeah. Do you feel like people kind of look at you like, "This is a bit crazy?"
yeah. And what's really funny? I've been a hunter and fisherman my whole life. I mean, here, you see, I got 2 bucks, one there and then one there, and I've eaten them. I butcher them myself. I know how to butcher my own meat and everything. My dad taught me how to do that when I was growing up. He's a very self-sufficient man, and I had other people that helped me refine those skills that were better at it than even my dad. Uh, when I moved to Colorado, when I go elk hunting and fill the freezer with that. So I've always been an advocate for eating fish and eating ruminant meats, you know. Uh, and I like pork. I like lamb, but wild bison, elk, venison, goat, lamb, any of that stuff, I'll eat it all day long.
So what is your one meal a day like?
Uh, we went and got a side beef recently, grass fed, grass finished, and we already went through all the ribeyes. The ribeyes are my favorite, but on our budget, we eat a lot of hamburger. We cook with beef tallow. We cook with butter and salt. We do take iodine uh, and the electrolytes from the salt mines. The keto chow, and I can't think of that iodine
Is that
ligures,
Lugol's?
Lugol's,
Lugol's?
yeah. And we order them on Amazon, and I'll take 4 drops in a glass of water. My wife likes it in her coffee. We do have coffee. It doesn't seem to affect us. My wife likes a little. She gets organic cream, and she tries to get it raw. She can't always get it because in the state of Virginia, they don't allow raw meat unless you belong to a sharecrop, or raw milk, I mean. And so a lot of times we do bulletproof coffee. Sometimes I'll add a little salt in mine, but that's primarily what I do, black coffee with butter. And we will drink mineral water, the sparkling mineral water. That's about all we have, is other than regular water and coffee, and that's it. We don't have anything else other than that. A little bit of cream in our milk, and we do make carnivore ice cream though. You know, we figured out how to do that from the steak and butter gal, and it turned out pretty good. My wife will crush. She does put a plant in there. She crushes real vanilla beans to give it a little bit of flavor, and it turns out really good. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So, this must be, I mean, in 5 months, this is life-changing, right? After y
I'm not
all
going
those
back.
injuries.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean my pelvis injury, my tailbone injury, my internal bleeding from that. I mean, I would say out of all my joint pain, because it was hard for me to even bend over and tie my shoes. So I'd bend over and I'd be, now I'm going to the gym and working out, and I haven't done that. And I think the last time I entered a gym was over 30 years ago. And I used to be buffed. I used to work out and do bar dips with weights hanging on me, with the belt and everything, and the chain. I mean, I loved working out, but once I got into the working world and the responsibilities that come with it, all that faded into the background, and then I stopped focusing on that because of being able to just survive in the world that we live in today, financially speaking, especially with the economy all over the world, the way it's going and the way things are happening. uh, I got really stressed out during the COVID. I was out of work for oh gosh, a good year or so, because I wouldn't wear the mask and I wouldn't get the shots. My mother-in-law was a medical technologist, and she would work in the lab, and she would test people's blood and tell the doctor which vaccine was best to give. And she's pro-vaccine, but when she read what was in those, she was like, don't touch it. you know so we didn't. And she goes, I don't trust it. It's only been 9 months. There's no way they can prove it that quickly. Stay away from it. So it cost me my job, and it financially put a burden on us. And I think that's what also led to my heart attack, the stress, along with the poor eating habits.
And so are you back, driving trucks now?
Locally, so that I can focus on my health, I drive a dump truck for a great guy. I mean, I wish I could have had a boss like this guy my whole life. I mean, he's been a wonderful man to work for, as far as working for. It's just that, everyone's here in America, the way they run things right now is not good. And so the inflation's way up. They don't want to bring the industry back. It's all overseas. Uh, you know, in order to bring our industry back, we'd have to get someone in there that's pro doing that, that will cut businessmen a deal on not taxing them so hard, so they'll bring it back here. We need to get our health back first and foremost, because if people aren't healthy, how are they going to be able to run the industries that could support our country and bring the economy back? You see what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
a big deal. I mean, I'm like, you know, it's. Did you see what RFK Jr. did, his speech recently? Robert
Yeah, the one yesterday when he
Kennedy
yeah.
Jr. Yeah, I mean that guy really hit the head on the nail on the head, I should say. Uh, he he spoke the truth. This nation is the unhealthiest nation in the world right now, and he wants to make it better. Now, I don't think he understands the whole spectrum of the carnivore and how we've been lied to media and the pharmaceutical industry being in bed with the agricultural industry and all that you and I both know about because I've watched you interview enough people. I know you know about that. I've done enough research and watched enough videos to where and read about it to where I realized that we've been lied to, about the proper human diet. Yeah.
It's it's really refreshing to have a politician actually standing up and saying, "No, this is a problem."
Oh,
And
yeah.
big pharma's a problem, and this, the way we're eating, there's something not right with this. It's very refreshing.
And the fact that he has got Trump to play ball with him and to do something about it if they both get into office and they can work together on it. We're talking about two polar opposites, on the political spectrum.
But I mean, I guess that's going back to the way politics used to be, where it was not like you're this team and I'm that team. It's like, here's the things that we agree on. Let's work together on those things.
Absolutely. I
I
mean,
mean,
it
that's how
used to be, well,
discussions used to be
you
as
and I
well.
grew up with it. Yeah, you and I grew up with it that way. Our parents did, our grandparents did, but this new generation has not experienced that. They've figured out how to divide us and have us fighting each other, and we're so busy doing that, we're not seeing how they're getting, their little agenda and corrupt ideas are affecting our lives until it's too late. Yeah, I agree, especially on the health end.
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that I think Kaylee Means has been the kind of whistleblower from Coca-Cola and whatever. He's been heavily involved in this, like wording them up about it is a good thing.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
I hope that we get enough good people in there on a world level too, not just here in Japan and everywhere else to, bring everyone up to par so that we can start getting our health back. I mean, I feel like I can, according to Dr. Philip Ovadia, I mean, I can live another 60 years, who knows? As long as I stick to doing what I know my body needs, eating what I need in order to heal itself. I mean, it's possible. I mean, and Lord only knows, how long I'm going to live, but I mean, I can be optimistic about it, and I
Right.
can, now that I feel strong again and I don't feel tired anymore, I feel like, yeah, hey, I can do it. I can go another
Yeah.
60 years, as long as we live in a world that can allow me to.
Yeah, and how good is it when you can get to the point where you've taken that power back? You actually know that I'm in control of this now, whereas before, your health kind of feels out of your hands, right?
I would say I recognized that I had control over it a month and a half into doing this. I was like, okay, there's too many good things happening here. I mean, the first 2 weeks, no. The first 3 weeks, no. The first month, no.
Yeah.
But after a
Yeah,
month and a
you've got no
half,
control over anything then.
no, no. And but and I was self-medicating with bourbon before I did this. Kentucky bourbon was my favorite, and I would get the high end stuff to self medicate and make my pain go away and all that stuff. So I understand where you were coming from on your end. I watched your story and read it, and I was like, okay, I can relate to that. you know? Yeah, definitely.
So
So
was that difficult to stop?
The alcohol?
Yeah.
Uh, not after 30 days, and the pain was gone, and I was feeling so good I didn't want it to stop. My joint pain was gone. My eyesight was coming back. I could see driving at night really well. The signs and everything where I was squinting all the time and it was blurred. I was just like, no, I'm not going back to this because I'm by nature, I've always been this way since I was a little boy. I'm a self-motivating person. My dad being Sicilian, my mother being primarily English, Scottish, Irish, German. They're very strong-minded people. So I was raised by that, and those kind of values and traditions in the house. And so my dad used to tell me, he says, you can do anything you put your mind to. And my mom was the same way. So in that sense, uh, don't let people making fun of you being chubby and everything get to you. You'll outgrow that. They didn't know about what was going on with the standard American diet, but they were always bringing me up positive. So I have nothing bad to say about that. I mean, they had their faults just like everybody does. We had our issues in the family like everybody does, but for the most part, I have nothing but good memories on that.
This is it for you then? There's no going back?
No, I don't. I
Yeah.
no, not. I mean, my blood pressure in the morning is averages the 120s over 70s or 65s. I've even woke up with it, 119 over 65, 110 over 70. After getting up, going to the bathroom, coming back and checking my blood pressure because I have my own blood pressure monitor. You know,
Mm.
uh, uh, I have not had any blood work done, to be honest with you. Uh, with as good as I'm feeling, I believe what they say about the CAC count. I have no doubt that my CAC count, because I couldn't hardly go up and down the steps to get to my vehicle to go to work without panting. Now I can run up and down. I can carry furniture, I can carry heavy things, and I'm not winded. I'm like, I feel like that gal that owns the ranch up in Vancouver or up there in British Columbia. I can't think of her name. She's 82 years old, 83,
Yeah.
whatever she is.
Maggie, I think.
Maggie, and then I think she has a ranch in Montana. I mean, I'm like, I wish I could have been like her. I wish I could have been raised just being born into it and doing that. Because when I see people like that and I hear their stories and I hear that I will say that if it weren't for the carnivore community and being a part of it, watching Anthony Chafee do his little shorts, and you coming on and how it's changed your life, I mean, I'm inspired to want to, start a channel. I started one, but it's not much of anything. It's just called Carnivore Santa because someone gave me the idea because of this. I laughed. I said, that ain't a bad idea. Why not? Carnivore Santa. I got a gift for you. The knowledge of how to eat properly in the human diet. And then of course I'm encouraged by Kerry Mann with Homestead How and his wife and what he's doing for the carnivore community. I mean, you know, if it weren't for those people, it would have been a lot harder, and I probably would have had a lot more, you know, falling off the wagon moments because I have family that tries to get me to do that.
Yeah. So is anyone, like you talked about your family before, but has anyone kind of said to you, like, I don't think this is the right thing for you. You shouldn't be doing this?
Oh yeah, my 41-year-old son and his wife. Uh, my younger brother, he's 18 months younger than me. He thinks I'm nuts. I haven't heard from my other brother in a long time, so I don't know what he would think if I told him. He lives in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and he's a very busy man with his family and such. So I don't know what he would think of it if I spoke to him about it. He might think I was stupid or crazy. I don't know. There I've gone down a lot of rabbit holes trying to find a way to get to this point, and they all said, "Oh, this is another fad." And I've heard of a lot of family members, and you're just gonna, uh, you'll find something else, and you'll fail. You'll gain your weight back like you always have, and whatever. That's what I hear from them mostly.
Um, and before we came on, you told me you've got 2 dogs that are now carnivore.
Yeah, I mean, for the
How are they?
most part, it's expensive to do that
Mm,
with dogs, but we got the best dog food we can get that doesn't have grains and stuff like that in it. And we mix in what we can afford to mix in the hamburger and the stuff like that. And we feed them the bones and the scraps from our side beef that we bought locally here. And it's helped them significantly. And you could tell their teeth is better, their breath is better, their coats and itching has slowed down quite a bit since we started that with them. So yeah, I got a pure German Shepherd, and then I got a mix of Belgium Malinois and German Shepherd. She's the female and he's the male, and they're a combination of house outdoor dogs. Very very well
yeah.
disciplined.
Love German Shepherds.
So do I.
Awesome dogs. Yeah. If you were gonna give someone advice about getting started with carnivore, what would you tell them?
Well, knowing that I'm not qualified by any means, I'm still new at this. I would have to tell someone to bury themselves into watching all the carnivore community that they can. Get their, look at the links that everyone puts down on the proof of how they've manipulated the science behind all this, and do your own research. Because I had, and make sure you have a why for you, because for me, I wanted to be around for my family and myself and my wife. I mean, I love my wife. She's 6 years younger than me, and I want to be around her, and I don't want to leave her with nothing. I mean, we're starting over because of being out of work. We lost everything during that time we were out of work, and so I need to have this energy in order to support my wife and myself. So, uh, find your why, and think about the dreams you always had in life. Don't, I'm an older man, so I put off dreams that I always had and said, "Oh, it's not possible for me. I'll never get there." Don't think like that. Think positive, and give it at least 30 days. I would say 90 if you could, and see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't, I'll be shocked and surprised for you. But my advice is watch all the carnivore videos you can, get all the encouragement you can, and do all the research you can on it, because the truth is out there if you really seek it. It really is.
So, you mentioned that you'd started a YouTube channel. How can we get in contact with you?
Well, it's Carnivore Santa. I've only done one video, and it's kind of probably poor quality because you know, I haven't done any camera work, and I've never been in front of the camera. I've always been behind it. When I was doing skydiving photography and videography back in those days in the 1990s, primarily is when I did that. I You could, my email. You have my email. I don't care. Give it out there. If someone wants to contact me on my email, uh, and they're legit and they're not just a troll, I'll respond and try to give them any encouragement I can. I mean, I'm not an expert at this. I would say, they can do that, but and if I can give them any information on who to contact or who to watch on the carnivore, social medias, I'll do that, and if for some reason they relate to me, I'll do what I can to encourage them.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll share those links below. Um, Kenny, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you inviting me, and I appreciate your time too. I hope you have a wonderful day.